So let's talk about the training routine that you did leading up to your IFBB Pro card achievement. What did the training split look like? You were big on training one body part per training session for specific reasons, and maybe you can touch on that as well. So just kind of get into those details that I think the listeners will find fun and fascinating.
Yeah. So I'm going to say probably right around summertime, I was still doing the same thing, one body part a week. The only thing that was twice a week were my legs. I know I had to bring up my legs a lot. I had knee issues, of course, my lower back. So I had to make sure that I hit my legs twice a week. What I really had to get away from was squatting. I just couldn't squat anymore. We have a squat at our gym. It's called the pendulum squat. And I couldn't even do that. Anything that had to put weight on my shoulders that compressed my lower back, I couldn't do anymore. So leg press hurt a little bit. So I started doing, it's a belted squat. You know, the belt wraps around your waist because it took pressure off my lower back. So I really started doing that with a lot more leg extensions, sissy squats, lunges. And I actually started doing a lot more glute work because my training partner is a female. And of course, you know, females always want to work their glutes. So I had to do a lot more glute work than I was used to. That was twice a week. Everything else was once a week up until probably like 12 weeks before the show. Once I hit the 12-week mark, I felt good enough to where I want to see if I can push it a little bit to where I can train just about every day and maybe take one day off. Can I train my chest twice a week? Can I train my back twice a week? But I knew in order to do this, I would have to make sure that my nutrition was on point. I was able to recover, make sure my sleep was on point, make sure my hydration was on point. To me, I don't believe so much in overtraining if you're getting the proper amount of sleep and proper amount of nutrition. So that's one thing that I had to make sure that was dialed in. And then I started training chest twice a week. It would still be one body part. So let's say, for instance, Sunday would be nothing but legs. Monday would be back. Tuesday would be chest. Wednesday would be shoulders. You're going to know that I don't really work my arms. So Thursday, I would be back to legs. Friday would be back. Then Saturday would be shoulders and chest again.
Combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
And arms, I really don't train at all. And, you know, a lot of people don't really believe me. To me, if I'm doing back, I'm working my biceps indirectly. If I'm working triceps, they're getting worked twice. When you're doing chest, when you're doing shoulders, they're getting worked regardless. If I do arms, you know, I'll do some rope press downs or some overhead rope extensions. That's about it. Bicep curls, maybe some preacher curls on the cables, and maybe some dumbbell curls. That's the extent of like my arms.
I think we talked about this last time, actually. They are a genetic strong point for you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When I was younger in high school, my coach always told me, hey, Moody, and he was a bodybuilder back then. He's won like Mr. San Diego. He's won the Mr. California show. And, you know, at that time he was a coach. And he said, hey, Moody, girls get the girls. During high school, that's all I would do. All us guys would go in there, either bench or just sit there and just do curls. And I wasn't a big guy on bench, so I would just sit there and just do curls and curls and curls and curls. Every single day, going to the gym, do some curls. And it got to a point where it's just my arms just like grew really, really fast. And up until that point, it's just my arms have always been, like I said, it's been a genetic strong point. They just grow. If I just do a little bit, they grow even bigger. So I've always had to kind of back off on my arms a little bit.
That's a nice genetic strong point to have because yeah, that's a big struggle for a lot of natural bodybuilders, I think. Yeah. So back to what we were talking about now. So that was a few weeks out from the contest. You started training everything twice per week and your nutrition was dialed in, your sleep was dialed in. So you didn't really run into too many recovery issues doing that. But like, let's say you do a chest day, right? Would you literally just repeat that same chest day, or would you kind of switch up the exercises, decrease the amount of sets because you knew that you were hitting it twice in a week?
That was about 12 weeks out. As I even got closer, it increased even more. So as I got closer to the show, I want to say probably about 6 weeks out, I completely changed it up again. So I would go legs still on Sunday. On Monday, I would do back and triceps. Tuesday, I would do chest and biceps. Wednesday, shoulders and back. Thursday, I wouldn't do biceps anymore. I would go chest and shoulders. So everything now, I would increase weeks. They're 2 or 3 times a week with maybe taking like a Saturday off.
Did you ever experiment in the off season, quote unquote off season, we'll call it like your gaining season, right? With training body parts multiple times per week? Because you never kind of went down that route, did you? You always felt that one body part per week was, I guess, enough. Enough is not the right word, but you felt like that's what was the right amount as far as the amount of volume you did and how hard you trained per session. Like you needed those 6 days to recover before you went and hit that directly again.
As I got older, I've always thought about my joints, and I see it day in and day out in the gym, where I see the guys that they're lifting as heavy as possible. And, you know, and I look at it, I'm like, these guys, man, if I could tell them so much and they look at me like, yeah, okay, whatever. And they're trying to deadlift 500-600 pounds for like 1 or 2 reps or 3 reps. Are you actually building muscle with those 1 or 2 or 3 reps? Or are you trying to be a power lifter? To me, I don't see 1, 2 or 3 reps really building any muscle at all. You're building strength. Yeah. Remember, there's always risk reward, where now you're putting so much stress on your joints, whether it's squatting. And if you look at Tom Platz, for instance, back then, when he was doing squats and this and that, he would do so many reps. I'm talking about like 50 to 100 reps in a set. And you know how big his legs were.
Yeah, that's true.
And you look at guys nowadays, when I see in the gym, you know, they got like 5-6 plates on each side, and they're doing like, you know, 1, 2 or 3 reps. And they're wondering how come their legs aren't growing. I've always been a big believer. It's like, you know, if you're going to hit that muscle, you want to hit it as hard as you can. And now just let it rest. Let it recover. Let it recover. And if you hit it hard enough, it should be sore for about 2, 3, 4 days. And by that time, where it's the 5th or 6th day, is it okay to hit that muscle again? Yeah, it's okay if your body is recovering. It's okay to try different exercises. If you're going to squat that 1 week and you're going to go heavy squats, a lot of reps, maybe next week, instead of doing regular squats, try doing hack squats a different way. Try doing the leg press a different way. Try to stimulate different types of muscles that you're not used to and really hit that muscle hard. But I've never been to a point where during the off season train, like, you know, my body part twice or 2 or 3 times a week.
Right. It was a phase, basically, a specialized phase. It is interesting because I've experimented with that, but I found that as I've gotten stronger, older, to hit something directly 2 times per week, it felt less enticing, not only from a result standpoint, but from in terms of muscle growth. I'm not really seeing that much difference for like, the risk reward. It's not lining up. And there's a lot of overlap too. Like when you hit shoulders, you're still going to hit maybe some of that upper pec if you're doing like a really high incline press, or you're going to hit your triceps, or you're going to hit your biceps when you're doing certain exercises for your back or for your chest. There's quite a bit of overlap as well that needs to be considered. So if there's already going to be overlap and muscles are kind of getting hit, maybe not directly, but maybe if you're adding deadlifts on a back day, for example, just something I'm thinking about, you're also hitting your legs, right? So there might be a time and place for it. Absolutely. When I was beginning, just starting out, practice too, you know, that's also a reason that you might want to consider hitting things twice a week. Like if you're just a rookie starting out, there's really pros and cons. There could be a case made for both sides, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Back then it was basically balls to the walls. I would just go. I would take trips up to Gold's Gym in Venice and watch these guys work out, not thinking things that they're taking. It didn't occur to me back then. To me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Louis Ferrigno, all these guys were natural.